I spent years living all the way in the box, afraid to step out, afraid to truly grab hold of my dream. And now I am breaking through, and I invite you to join me.
Your breakthrough starts now. Coming up on today's show, get ready to be inspired and transformed with our featured guests. Find out what's trending and get advice on life's daily challenges with Erica's top tips of the day. All of this and so much more coming up. So stay tuned. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. The Erica Latrice Show. And now, here's your host, Erica.
Hello and welcome to the Erica Latrice Show. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. Coming up on today's show, I have a very special treat for you. She is published author Shelby Wagner, who has a story that I think is going to keep you on the edge of your seat. And if you've ever felt like it's too late to jump out or it's too late to do anything, I feel like Shelby is going to bust that myth for you today and help you to start stepping out. So I just want to encourage you to be a part of the conversation. Join us live in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. If you have questions, post those and get interactive. And I want to kick off today's show by giving a special shout out to our sponsors today. We are talking all things Born to Soar Conference and Marie Edwards, who is helping you to get your finances in order. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're jumping straight into the Be Inspired Cafe. And I want you to think about this question. Has there been something that you've thought about doing or you've maybe even hesitated to step out and do it? Whatever that is, I want you to think about that one thing and share it with us live wherever you're watching this. Share that with us. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do about that one thing. We'll be right back.
Get ready to soar at the upcoming Amplify Her Born to Soar conference. You can get your tickets at borntosoarconference.com with options for the VIP upgrade, and it's all designed to help you expand your reach, increase your voice to stand on your story. If you're ready to get around like-minded women on a mission, then this is the best place to get started. So we'll see you at our upcoming event. Go to borntosoarconference.com.
Welcome back. All right, so let's jump into the Be Inspired Cafe with my special guest today, Shelby Wagner. Shelby is an absolute trailblazer, in my opinion, and when you learn a little more about her story, you're going to know exactly what I mean by that. So welcome today, Shelby. How are you doing?
Hi, Erica. I am doing great, and thanks for having me on your show.
Yes. So thank you for being here. I have so many questions from you, just knowing, or for you from knowing a little bit about what you do. But can you first tell us about your journey, your current journey right now, where you've been able to step out and achieve something by way of publishing your book at an age that most people hesitate, or we can kind of like put things off or feel like we're not qualified. So what tips would you have? And tell us just a little bit about where you're at now with what you're doing.
Well, I'm a retired music teacher, and I'm 75-year-old grandma. So I'm unconventional. And I always thought I would write a book, but I never had the time to do so. Most people have that same feeling, I think, that they want to write one. And so finally, I got time to write. The book is called Learning to Dance in the Rain, Surviving Grief, Internet Dating, and Romance Scams. And the book was just recently released 2 weeks ago. I had my hands on my own book for the very first time about a week ago, so I'm very excited about it. I lost my husband 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, after being married for 50 years. And he had come down with pneumonia, and his heart couldn't take the intubation that he needed to get the medicine to his lungs. So I was devastated, as everyone, I think, that loses a loved one is devastated. Yes. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And so about 8 months later, I decided I didn't like being alone. And so I went on internet dating, and I met some supposedly men. You don't know who's on the other side of that screen. Right. Yes. And I got scammed, and then I found out that has become the costliest scam ever reported to the Federal Trade Commission. in 2019. The last 5 years, there's been over $1 billion lost by seniors like me or singles and like me, and those people who cannot afford to loan people money. And so I would like to raise awareness and educate people so that they can recognize those scammers and stop talking to them. Go on to somebody else. More fun.
So I definitely want to get more into your story, and definitely sorry for your loss, Shelby. I just commend you for taking many challenges that you've experienced and using those as a catalyst to help other people. I think that's huge. So I want to go a little deep into your story. And I first want to talk about how at the age of 75, you're standing before us today, you're holding up your book, you've been able to publish, you've been able to already start impacting other people. So tell me, what was that experience like when you knew for certain, I'm going to publish this book, I'm going to get it done? And did you experience any moments where maybe you didn't want to, or you wanted to quit? How did you keep going?
Well, this is the second edition of the first book, which was written in 2018. And I lived alone. And one Friday night, I received a box on my front porch. I went out to get it, and oh my gosh, there was a box full of my books. When I opened it up, it was such an overwhelming, oh my goodness, I actually did write this book and I have published it. And I had no one to share it with at the time. And so I posted it on Facebook. Oh, I just got my book. And within 2 minutes, I had a message from a cousin I hadn't seen in a long time. And he says, where can I want to buy it? Where do you get it? And I said, I don't know, just a minute. So I really quickly went to Amazon because it was supposed to be on Amazon.com. And there it was. So I went back and he bought the book. So within 10 minutes of me having my book, I had a customer. And later he wrote and said, thank you for sharing your experience there. It's been quite a road. The first year in 2018 and 19, I was starting to do meet the teacher nights, meet the author events and book signings. And then I was doing really well. I had spoken for a couple conferences shortly, and people seemed to like what I was saying and appreciated my message. And then COVID hit. And so we were quarantined here in Michigan and couldn't do anything, go anywhere. And then finally, I decided that, well, I might as well use my time. And so I added about 20,000 words to my book, giving more templates of that people can read, that these are emails that I received from these guys. And people don't realize how someone can be so gullible as to fall for these. And I was forewarned. I'm educated, and I found out that a lot of these people are educated and they're just lonely and they just care about, so when someone's in trouble, you want to help them. And these scammers take advantage of that very fact. And it's just amazing. I just like to tell people to be careful what you say to these people, because you don't know who's on that other end of that conversation.
That is the absolute truth. So if you had to break it down, maybe top 2 lessons that you learned from that experience that you wish other people knew, what would you say? What are some of your biggest takeaways from that experience?
Well, my book is about grieving as well. And I want people to realize that, hey, it's not degrading to admit that you're sad because you've lost your loved one. I mean, it's life-changing, and grieving is what heals. And I had a friend say, well, I don't want to heal. And I said, well, I know in the beginning that's maybe you don't. I asked God, why didn't you take me too? But, you learn to navigate. You've got to go on. Your loved one would want you to go on. So that's one message. And then the other one is these letters that I went on internet and immediately was the darling of the internet. I got so many messages in my inbox. I couldn't believe so many men were interested in getting to know me and telling me how beautiful I was, and wow, I love your profile and all this stuff. And within 2 weeks, I discovered that most of them were scammers because they all asked me for money. And that's the number one clue that tells you if they ask you for money, I don't care what the reason. My fellow, he got to me because he knew I was a Christian, and you give to the poor, you help people when they need. I've always been of the mind of helping people to do to do better, to learn and so on. And so he took advantage of that. And he told me this big story. He was in China and lost his money and was stolen from him, and he was starving to death. Well, I knew that was probably a scam. I mean, 90%, 98% told me it's a scam, but there was that little smidgen that said, what if this man is truthfully starving in China? And it was a loan, and so I sent it to him. But I didn't get it back. He wanted more, and finally I blocked him. And that's the thing. As soon as they ask you for money, block them. If you're on the cell phone, if you're on the computer, you can block them too, because it's only going to go down from there. They're going to ask for more money. They're going to plead. They're going to beg. They're going to do all that thing. And when you say no, then they start to get nasty. So I suggest you block them, report them to whoever you have met them, whatever website you saw them on, and report them to the FBI or the Federal Trade Commission. If you have lost money, I've already given money to them. Those are the main two lessons in my book. Reassess your options for a new life after you have become single again, and decide, do you want to be single the rest of your life? Do you want to get married again? And then my book goes into helping you discover what it is I really want, how to make quality decisions, and then how to be successful on internet dating. I have quite a few tips for that, as well as avoiding a broken heart and an empty bank account.
Yes. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to go a bit deeper into the online dating and some of the tips that you have. And also, I just think what you touch on with grief, and even just the title, Learning to Dance in the Rain, is so important for us. So if you're watching right now and you're trying to figure out, how do I have that new beginning? How do I have a fresh start? That's what we're going to talk about when we come back. So don't go anywhere. Big thank you to Marie Edwards, who is a sponsor for today's episode. And if you are looking to transform your finances and start taking those important decisions around money, then you need to talk to Marie. So we'll be right back. If you have been looking for a sign, here it is. It is time for a financial wake-up call. We all use this daily, but how many of us really know how it works? What I'm talking about is money. And Marie Edwards is a financial educator, financial literacy, and professional advisor, helping millennial and Gen Z women understand how money works and how they can start making it work for them. So if this is something that you have had on your to-do list, it is time to check it off. Go to howmoneyworks.com/Marie Edwards. That's MARIE EDWARDS to book your free consultation or sign up for the next free class so that you can start making your money work for you. Welcome back. So Shelby, I want to kind of dig into one of the things that you talked about, which was literally just putting yourself out there, being open to go on multiple dates, being open to having that fresh start. So what would you say, what's one of those things that can get in the way of us having that new beginning and that fresh start and taking a chance after we've experienced hurt?
Well, we're devastated. We have to rebuild our lives. We have to figure out what it is we want. And we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be single the rest of our life? And being single, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I had a lot of fun with it. I dated, and 2 years after I started internet dating, I dated over 50 men. And some people say, how could you do that? Well, I sometimes had, I hated a date every week. Sometimes I had 2 dates every week. One day I even had two dates in the same day. I had lunch with one man and supper with the other. So, but people are kind of shy. I've heard it, oh, I'm too shy to do that. Or, oh, I just wouldn't want, I don't know enough about the internet to do that. But I think that the internet dating websites provide a very good service. There are a lot of advantages. You don't have to get dressed up and go out and drive ever how far and spend money on a dinner or a movie or whatever. You can sit and talk to someone right on your computer. And with Skype and some of these other FaceTime, if you're an Apple fan, you can talk with them, meet them first, like I'm meeting Erica here on this and talking right here. So there are a lot of advantages to it, but there's also dangers. So you got to be careful what you say. For example, I tell women not to tell their last name. Don't tell them where you live. Men, on the other hand, I tell the woman, if you're truthful, you tell them, give them information. You tell them your last name. One couple men, they started giving me their license plate number because I was meeting them at halfway, maybe, or at a restaurant somewhere, and making sure that I would leave a note at home telling my daughter where I was, who I was with, and giving her the license name of the number of the car that of the date that I was going to. So there are a lot of things that you have to think of about being safe, and that's the main thing. Several of the men, there were a couple that I really, really liked, and I had hoped that maybe that they were the one at the time that I met them, and then their families objective or got in the way. The family, your adult children are going to worry about your safety. They're going to worry about you spending a lot of money on someone else. They're going to worry that you're not going to have time for them. So these are things that you have to think about and plan for and cooperate, and always leave a message in some designated place telling your kids that this is where you are going and who you're going with. A lot of people take the dating sites too seriously and they fall in love right away. After making that mistake a couple of times, and there were scammers, by the way, I found out, I said, no, I'm not going to give my heart. Scammers will ask you, to trust them, or they'll love you real fast, fall in love with you. And that's not the way it works. Real love takes time with someone, and doing things and finding out what each other enjoys and what they don't like. And, I met those men. Well, most of them I never saw a second time, because there just wasn't the connection I was looking for. So you really have to be careful. And like I said, I was told that, some of the men that you talk to are prisoners. They're in a prison. They're criminals that way. And she said they can be the nicest looking man you ever saw. And yet they would break into your house and kill you or rape you or steal from you. So don't tell too much online. Don't send money to somebody that you've not met in person and that you don't know really well. There's lots of issues to think about.
Absolutely. So what would you say from here, when you think about where do you go from here? Like, update us, where are you at today, and what are some of the upcoming goals that you have on the horizon?
Well, about a year and a half after I started dating, I started talking to this one man who lived 3 hours from me in Indianapolis. And we had such fun chatting. He was the most interesting person, the most back and forth conversation that I had up to that time. And after I went out for the evening, I came back, I wanted to talk some more, and he wasn't there. Later on, about 6 or 8 months later, he was back on the dating site, and I wrote a message, welcome back. And we started